In Cambridgeshire, UK, there is an artificial canal called Old Bedford and is approximately 20 miles in length and completely straight. Samuel Burley Rowbotham, born in 1816 and who died in 1884, published a pamphlet in 1849 about his decade-long studies and experiments into the true nature of the earth. Now, according to his belief, the earth was flat, enclosed and bounded by an ice wall. He expanded everything into a 430-page book published in 1881. What Samuel Rowbotham arranged at Old Bedford was to have a flag on a boat exactly 5 feet above the surface of the water. This boat was then rowed to Welney Bridge, which was exactly 6 miles in a straight line from where Rowbotham was. Rowbotham himself stood in the middle of the canal with a telescope exactly 8 inches above the water level. So when looking through the telescope, he observed the boat and its flag for the whole time the boat would have receded to its destination 6 miles away. If the earth was a globe, as was supposed at the time, then by 6 miles the flag should not have been visible. Note that Samuel Rowbotham was following the scientific method. What are the 6 steps of the scientific method? The 6 steps of the scientific method are: 1. Asking a question about something you observe. 2. Doing background research to learn what is already known about the topic. And 3. Constructing a hypothesis. 4 is experimenting to test this hypothesis. 5 is analysing the data from the experiment and drawing conclusions. And finally 6, communicating the result to others. If it was a globe, Rowbotham reasoned, then the boat and flag should have been 11 feet 6 inches below the horizon. This is demonstrated in a diagram. If point A represents Rowbotham with his telescope and point B the boat and flag at Welney Bridge, then A to B represents a globe curvature of water 6 miles long. The tangent line from Rowbotham at point A to point C represents its expected line of sight and the contact point with water at point T. This is a calculated distance of 1 mile from Rowbotham at point A, because he is observing from only 8 inches above the waterline. So point T to the Welney Bridge at point B is 5 miles. From the calculations of 8 inches per mile squared, the drop in Earth's curvature is 16 feet and 8 inches. So as the flag is 5 feet above the water level, the flag itself should be 11 feet 8 inches below the horizon T and therefore altogether out of sight. This, however, was not observed. Rowbotham was able to see the flag and boat for the entire 6 miles along the canal, all the way to the bridge. This is the true observed state as depicted in the diagram. Now, the fact that Rowbotham was able to see the boat and flag the entire 6 miles proved that the earth was flat. Rowbotham did many similar experiments at the canal, and all proved that there was no curvature of the earth. This experiment was repeated in 2016, where they used a laser. The attempt was filmed and is on YouTube. However, there are several difficulties in trying just one attempt without practice and with little or no funds. One such difficulty being the state of the upkeep of the canal 160 years after the original experiment. Another was getting the mirror angle just right to reflect the laser light, which proved to be extremely difficult and would require, I think, several attempts to get it right if there were time. Also, the strength, intensity and narrowness of the laser beam over several miles depends a lot on quality and ultimately the cost of the laser. It can be done, and it has been proved that it can be done over water or ice lakes. Now, Samuel Rowbotham's experiments at the Bedford levels have proved a strong foundation for proof that the radius of the Earth and therefore its curvature, is not as we have been led to believe, and indeed can be described as flat. And I bet you didn't know that there have been 2 court cases over these results, the latter being very recent, and being 160 years later was used in evidence in a court case requiring proof of the globe model using the scientific method, and which, under this basis, the globe model lost to the flat earth model. So then, this should really give you something to think about.